It was 1999 when I was about to watch The Matrix. It was my third time actually, but this time I wanted to watch it with my girlfriend at the time. So what I did was that I called her on the landline, and we agreed to meet at, I think it was around 5:30 or something like that, because the movie started at 6. So we agreed to meet near the statue next to the theater, and I miscalculated the traffic a bit, so arrived a few minutes earlier. She got stuck in traffic, so she arrived a bit later. And all in all, I waited for her about 12 or 13 minutes, but it was absolutely okay because we had this mutual agreement that we wait 15 minutes at most. And after that, it's free game. I can watch the movie alone for the first time if I want to, or I can go home because I already watched the scene 3 times as well. We did this because we basically didn't have any other options to communicate at that time. So we had the landline, and if you happen to have no coins with you, you couldn't call anyone from the street. So that was in 1999. 10 years after that, I was heavily invested in World of Warcraft. I bet some of you already did do this stuff. And also I was working for GE. So thank you very much for that very nice photo. It was, I think, 2100, I think. My heart really skipped a beat. But when I wasn't at GE doing, I think at the time I was in automated testing or something like that, I spent most of my time raiding bosses and dungeons and killing them like we did. These are all my friends who I never met. But we talked a lot on Ventrilo and TeamSpeak, and we had a really fun night. Because everyone here, actually not these things, but the people behind it, they were all older than 18 years old, and they all had jobs, and they all missed social interactions because they didn't really have friends because we were playing WoW. But we still had a few actual, real, physical, flesh and blood humans we call as friends. So what we did when we wanted to have a drink, we wrote an email. We wrote an email from our desktop computer, either from home where we had the internet or from the office. And then we just sent SMSs to each other. The first iPhone was 2 years old at this time, but because money and other reasons, I was rocking this awesome Sony Ericsson K750i, which was really sturdy, and it was one of the most reliable phone that I ever had. And theoretically, it had WAP capabilities. Anyone knows what WAP is? Well, it was basically the shitty internet that you can get on your phone. It was internet. You could access internet. You could theoretically access your emails, but it was really, really hard to use. So compared to the SMS. Funny story, we had one time drinking, about 10 of us or something, and one guy was absent from the drinking party, and we already had a few, so we decided to do the SMS bombing. Anyone did the SMS bombing? So the 10 of you agreed to send an SMS like, hey, you suck, or something similar than that, and you count back 3, 2, 1, and everybody, the 10 of you, send the SMS 5 times. So on the receiving end, if somebody had a crappier phone, let's say a Nokia 3210 or something like that, which had a limited SMS inbox capability, what happened is that they received a shit ton of SMSs, and they had to read through every single one of them and delete them and receive the next one. You suck, you suck, you suck, 50 times or more. And we had a really good time spending around, I don't know, 300 or 400 forints just to make fun of the other guy at the other end. But that was in 2009. Mainly, we communicated through these methods. So we sent an email from a safe environment, from a big desktop computer, and then we sent SMSs to each other. Hey, I'm arriving, where are you? And after the evening has spent, because we had this kind of special keyboard, the more you drank, it was easier to see how drunk was on the other side, because you just typed something that couldn't be comprehensible. So that was at that time. Nowadays, we have a group chat with our friends on the internet. We have a very good internet here in Hungary. I think it's one of the best. I think maybe one of few countries has this fast internet at every single point, even indoors. So if you go to Germany and you go into this is my personal experience. You go into the headquarters of Deutsche Telekom and you don't have any internet at all. So if you don't have Wi-Fi, you are basically on your own. But we have a group chat where we can decide vaguely where we want to go and when we want to go. And if you say, oh, okay, let's have a drink tonight, when I don't know when I finish work. So I finish work, I check what the actual real-time position of the public transportation here in Budapest, and I can say, hey, this is my bus, this is where it was 33 seconds ago, so I just finished work, and Google Maps and the real-time prediction says that I'm going to be 17 minutes plus or 2 minutes stops, so we'll meet there. Please bring me my beer at that time so it's cold and nice and fresh and we can have the conversation going. And if it's a new place, I can use live AR to navigate me to that certain red door where we can enter the building. So my intentions to have a fun time, regardless of the context, whether it was a movie, whether we were in 1999, whether today, didn't change. I want to meet my friends. I want to have a fun night. And I think nobody's intentions has really changed over the time. Or the set of the goals didn't change. What changed are the tools. And the tools have changed how we interact with each other. We have much more tools. We have much more capabilities. These tools make me more reliable to be on time at points. These tools let me access more information right on the spot. Like, for example, when I had this drunken conversation with someone, and I don't want to say which one of us who were very adamant that it was Denzel Washington, who were the star of Snakes on a Plane. So we Googled it, and in half a second, we figured out that even the best answer for that is wrong. But we can have information right on the spot, even in the middle of nowhere. And this is another example why you can never trust the internet, because people have intentions on their mind. And if we can come back to the intentions, and as I mentioned, the set of intentions doesn't change, the way we interact with each other change. And just to get back to the intentions and the goal, there are some people who have different intentions on their mind that we have, because having a fun night, getting together, disproving someone's drunk statements, are basically harmless things. But some people just want to be president, they dream about it, and this is the second time, the same guy. We have, so 2/3 of the presentations include the same guy. So he dreamt about being a president, and he succeeded. What a nice guy. Some people would like to change, disrupt, wants to change their country, so there's a disrupt. Whether they are right or wrong, we don't know, but they want, their intention is to have a change, to have disruption on the living, how they live. And some people would like to just straight up genocide others, like what's happening even today in Myanmar. I'm not sure if you know that it's about 600 or 700,000 people that even today face torture, rape, or even death by the local authorities. And I know it's a very grim example. And just to get back to the digital product side, all of the 3 examples has been proven to be connected to one single box in the internet, and that's this box. Actually, it's my box, so it's not my responsible, all of this, but actually, this is what not started, but had a role in it. And I'm pretty sure, and safely I can say that, I'm pretty sure that no designer who worked on this single box had the intention of genocide or harming people or supporting elections on their mind. Because we are designers, this is not what we do. We don't want other people to have either physical harm or get their well-being in jeopardy. So how this thing can happen, and who is responsible? Because Facebook had to admit that they're kind of in the fault for what happened in Myanmar. It was proven multiple times, and they had to admit what happened what happened with Cambridge Analytica. It's kind of their mistake as well. But how could that happen? So we are designers. This is not what we want to do. Our goal is quite the opposite. We want to help people. We want to help them feel better. We want them to be delightful. So is there something that we don't know about? Is there something that we miss? our intentions and goal is to have better products and have better lives for the people. So how come there's an uncertainty between our intentions and what the outcome is? We can't just say what the NRA says, the National Rifle Association, that, hey, guns don't kill people, which we can reply to that, yeah, but guns certainly help to kill other people. So we can't absolve us from this responsibility. So can we do something? Can we find something? So facing this uncertainty, I did what every high-functioning, regular, control freak and perfectionist do. I stopped everything and I start to build up everything right from the bottom, just to try to understand what is happening and how is it happening. So the next few slides you might find boring and trivial, but just please bear with me. So what I did, I simplified the digital world into 3 actors. So the first one, usually the people. People want to get shit done. They want to do it. They want their tasks done, so their life is a bit better when their tasks are done, and they can keep on living. Because I want to get to the grocery to buy things, so I can eat those things, and I can keep on living. The other part is the business, of course, which wants to create products or services which they can sell, so they can make more products or better products or more services or better services for money, so they can keep on living. And the third one is the technology, which constantly try to improve itself and try to overdo itself and try to find new ways to be better, faster, and more effective. So these are my 3 actors, and this is a very, very oversimplification of the word. But technology makes the following loop available or enables this loop. So people are using technology in their everyday life, so that technology can drive a business, and then that business can provide products or services for the people to use, and the cycle continues. And this can be reversed as well. So people are giving resources, money or data to a business, which business can use these resources to finance and utilize that technology. In return, the technology enables people to do stuff better, like what I did back in 1999. Instead of calling landlines, nowadays I can make a group chat or anything like that. Technology makes me enabled to do that. So these stuff are realized through the product. I'm going to use the product and going to focus on the product, but I think a similar train of thoughts can be done for the services as well. This two-way loop can be realized to the product, and to be feasible, the technology pumps it in from the bottom. But if the business would create this product opinionatedly, I think the result would be incidental. So in the past 100 years or so, conscious design was introduced into the whole process. So far, it's pretty basic. It is done in a way that first, what we need to do is to have information on how people are currently solving their problems, what do they want, how do they use it, and what the business really wants. We call it research. From that research, we get data that we use for design, and that design gets implemented, and that implementation gets released. And we have measurement on how the people are using our product. And that measurement also creates data that can get back to the design again, so the product gets refined and the cycle continues. Basic stuff still. So I was really confident at this point that I'm onto something, because so far I didn't mess up anything. This is still in line how I know the word works. Let's see what happens at each arrow. Maybe I will find something there. So there's an uncertainty between how we intend our product to function and how our services function and how people are using it. I consciously want to avoid saying bad intentions or malicious intent, because that's not what I want to say here. I just want to figure out where this uncertainty can come from. So let's start from the beginning. Let's assume that everyone and every actor in this cycle is talented, knows what they're doing, and experienced. So there's no things like, I don't know, we skipped the research phase, or we did the research wrong. are talented, we are experienced, and we know what we are doing. So we get raw data from the research and from the measurement, and we get raw data from the business as well. We get this data to be synthesized, then we create the designs, then we create some source code for the implementation, then we release it. Now, during the research, we can mess up the thing by being biased. We can ask the people who we want to ask. Now, that can create a different product that we intended to do. That's basically the same thing that David just mentioned. We train the system with the wrong data, but here it is not an AI, it's an actual design. So there's no way other than just restart from the beginning with different people and design a different product. With an AI, at least you can shut it down, give different data set, and maybe Tay is not going to be racist at this time. But with a product, especially if you are already in the cycle and it's the second or third iteration, if you do a biased research, or if you get something very, very ugly thing from the business, you can fuck up the whole process. And I have a story about having ugly thing coming from the business. So a few years ago, a client explicitly requested to have this operating flow implemented into the product. So what it does for you in the back row, it asks you to give a rating for the application. How do you like it? Of course, defaulted to 5 stars. And there's no signifier. This is what they wanted. No signifiers whether you can change a different amount of stars. And if you choose 4 or 5 stars, you inputted that, either the store got opened on Android, or you were presented with the native rating pop-up, so now you can rate it. And if you were inputting 3 or less stars, the application wanted to ask you, what's your problem? How can we make it better? So you were you were asked to write a written feedback, and it actually said that you can suggest a feature, report an issue, or send other type of feedback. We'll use your report to improve the application. So it was reassuring that it's going to be all fine. And I said input and not rating during this whole introduction because the actual rating happened here. So that's why none of the rating, at least that's what they wanted to have, none of the ratings were below 4 because nobody visits the store page to rate an application, or at least just a few people. As long as we had this project, we actively fought against this to be implemented because many reasons, because we felt it wrong, because we felt it doesn't fit the user's need, and I hope they will never implement it, and if they do, I hope the developer license gets banned. So if you see a multi-million brand disappear from either App Store or Google Store, you will know which client I'm talking about. But, so, yeah, dark patterns can be introduced here, and still I'm saying that we are talented, we are experienced, that we know what we are doing. Still, we can implement dark patterns, but there are other ways to get the users to do what we want them to do, and this is a very funny thing. This is something that I just realized lately, that usually we design reactively. We see what the research data is, we see what the trends are, we see what's the state of the UX or the user interfaces in 2019, and we react upon it. We design something that's in line with all of that stuff. But we can do prescriptive design. We can say that, so people want to have a faster checkout experience or more understandable checkout experience, and they want to have more information on where their money go, for example. And we can say that, I can do better. I can just say, you press this button and everything's going to be fine. And you basically train your users to do what you think is going to be better, and you measure it. Of course, you measure a specific thing that proves your point, and you just implemented a prescriptive design, which possibly a dark pattern that serves the business. Users got faster checkout flow, and everyone seems to be happy. Except that you just made your users do something that didn't come from anywhere here. So that's design. Anyone can think of anything how we can mess up implementation. We are talented, we are experienced, we know what we are doing. How can we implement something that brings us some uncertainty or some gap between what we intended to do with the product and what the product actually does? How about building a backdoor for a government? See? Maybe the business doesn't even know about it. The people especially doesn't know about it. And you as a designer, you're not supposed to know about it because it's just a backdoor. It lets a government surveil better the people so they can secure those people. So they can say that, oh, hey, we don't want terrorists to use this application. We want them to catch faster even before they would be an actual terrorist. But this can have very unintended consequences. And my very favorite, the measurement, and that's really a good stuff. I think we have, or will have, and I may be spoiling, but if you want to read more about how scary the next scenario will be, you should read The Future Ethics written by Kenneth Bowles, and that is really scary topic, because imagine the following scenario. You are usually traveling by car using a navigation application which generates data, and the data feeds the previous cycle, so the navigation application gets better with each iteration, and that's fine. Same goes for your online shopping. You use, let's say, the Amazon shopping application, which in turn generates data, and so on and so on. You use your online banking, and let's just throw in a fitness application just for the kicks. These are all data sets, and of course, because it's 2019, all of the data sets are anonymized. So we should be in the safe, right? But what if someone, let's call him, her, or their George, could get all of these data sets, and it's not impossible today to de-anonymize data sets if you have enough sources and enough data points. Will George be able to recreate the real you? I highly doubt it, but I think they can get a pretty good picture about who you are and what you like and what's your context, so they can find weak points and exploit your daily life. So for example, you are traveling home and an advert just pops up that says that, hey, here's this shop where you can buy that training shoe that you checked earlier that you really like, and here's a very great discount just for you. And of course, George knows that you just received your paycheck, and you're usually more inclined to spend more in between the third and the 6th days after the check arrives. So it's a great deal. So who doesn't want to buy a new pair of shoes, right? So this is basically a harmless situation. But the worst one is if we imagine, let's say, let's target a smaller Pacific island and have the subset of poorer young adults who are, let's say, doesn't have much of an income, doesn't travel much, and they're kind of pissed with the government. Theoretically, with this system, can we have enough data to tempt them to have first a peaceful protest, then an even more violent protest against the government, which government in return can bring and introduce stricter laws against these group of people? Yeah, and it's not just a theoretical question, because actually this is kind of similar to what has happened in 2016 in the Philippines elections, where a company named SCL Group, I think is the abbreviation of Strategic Communication Laboratories, they are an influencing company who has influenced I think more than 20 elections or something like that. They list it even on their website. They helped Rodrigo Duterte to be elected, and well, that guy is not someone who would you like to see at the Sunday dinner, because he is even worse than the previous guy who we both featured in our presentation. So that's not a good sign. And and there's a lot of red here. So we can introduce uncertainty to the system at many, many single points. And these uncertainties can really change at many, many ways how people interact with each other. But apart from the previous examples that were just the shocking examples, can we really say that all of these social changes or interactions, changes in social interactions are bad? Because let's say in the attention economy where all the application on your mobile phone fights for your cognitive resources, that's bad. Cyberbullying or doxing, when someone reveals your personal information, where you live, what your phone number is, these are all really bad situations. But when you just want to get home and you order a taxi to see where the taxi is in real time, how can you call your cab driver, Zoli, or for example, or something like that, and how much time left till he arrives, I think that's a good thing. Or when you have a seamless video call from the other side of the earth with your loved one, that's a pretty good example as well. These are all changes in social interactions that are good. So to be honest, I don't know if these are bad or good. We are the ones, the designers are the ones who are basically enabling it. So are we to blame? And this is somewhat resonates what you are saying, Kayo, because we are not the sole one who are responsible to, we are not the ones that should take the blame for these ones. Like the one that I showed earlier, the box on the Facebook feed, it's not the designers' blame. There are stakeholders, there are inventors. So there are many people in that one. But on the other hand, we are designers, and if we have a bad design, we should figure out that this design is bad not because it doesn't serve the purpose, but because it has consequences beyond us or beyond the business or beyond the product. So again, I don't know, but, and again, this is a very big but, I really do think that we should be prepared for these changes. We should really find ways to be able to either predict that these changes will happen or have tools to have better decisions, to be able to differentiate the right from the wrong. And this is one of my pet peeves when someone said that, oh, what you are doing is wrong, well, wrong from your perspective. And because there are many, many perspectives, how can we standardize this? How can we educate people to say that it doesn't matter what the perspective is, there are still rights and there are still wrongs, without going into a long discussions about what is right or what is wrong. So we are talking about the decisions, and there is a very good field, and that is ethics. So I think this is very, very important. It's a good first step to be prepared for these changes, is to learn about ethics, and not just learn about ethics, to use it, because ethics is about decisions, about differentiating the right decision from the wrong decision, and it's the process of questioning and discovering and defending what we value, what our principles are, and what our purpose is. So how can we do this? Whenever we are in a situation, we feel that we are pressured to make this decision because the business says so, because the stakeholder says so, because I have a responsibility for my team. I think this is the very first sentence that should pop into our mind, that whenever we are about to make a decision, there's always another one to make. And it might not be intuitive, because you can say that, hey, this is my company where I work for. If I make another decision, the other decision, that would be I have to quit. But do you really want to work for a company where you feel that your values, your principles, or your purposes are in question? Or you would just say that, hey, I don't work for it. And maybe that should be the spark that can trigger a change in that company, for example, if you're pressuring you to do something where you have only one decision to make. So do we need anything like these? Well, definitely we don't need a code of conduct, and we don't need a checklist, because one cannot be upheld. There's no ethics policy. who will come and say that, hey, you are not ethical, so give back your designer license, because that cannot be done. And ethics doesn't work based on checklist. Ethics is a discussion. Ethics is about questions, and ethics is about decisions. So what you should do is just try to explore what would happen if the principles that you base your decision on would be universal. What if everybody would make this decision in the same situation? What would the world look like? And think about your intentions. What you are about to decide, are you doing this to help people reach their goals, or you deciding this to help people that you can reach your goal? So, for example, I can do this talk to be famous, for example, but more on that later. Obviously, I'm not going to be famous, duh. But think about taking responsibility. What if everyone will know tomorrow, what you decided yesterday? What if it's on the headline of every newspaper in the world? What if everyone will know with your name on it that this is what you decided? How would you react? Think about the world that it's going to create. Maybe it's just a simple application like ordering food or something like that. But think about, with your application, will the world be a better place, or will it not? Think about how the decision is going to change us or change the company itself. How would it affect us? How would it affect the company? And last but not least, is there anything in the process that is non-negotiable, that you can't change however you would like to change it? Because that's also very important. And also, one of the very important things here is to say that none of these questions are for judging anyone. So you can say that you are in for the money. You can say that you are in for the fame. Maybe you succeed, but most probably you won't succeed. You won't be able to get a lot of fame, be a rock star, and drink Dom Perignon all the time, because that's most probably not going to happen. But you can say that it's safe to say so. There are no right or wrong answers here anyway. The main point here is to have a discussion and to know what are your values, what are your principles, and what are your purposes. And you should be ready to question it every single time. You should be ready to defend it, and you should be ready, always ready to discover whether there's something new in it. And as for the designers, I think every designer should know and have to know ethics, because I think that is a very good first step to be prepared for the next decade, because there are going to be changes in interaction, social interaction, and changes in social behavior design for sure, like it happened in the past decades. And I think this is a very good first step, so we can move beyond the user and beyond the user experience and start to explore what good social behavior design is. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Sorry,
yeah.
Also we are hiring. I didn't want to muddle up with my presentation. If you're interested, check out our website. And if you can't find the job description that you like, we always have the random clever person, which can be you. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. We have time for one question, then we will have a break and we will have some food. And we will talk about ethics after the short food break.
Thanks. Actually, I'm just wondering that would you like to work for Facebook?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah.
And Facebook is good for us?
No, that's why I want to work there. Would you like to, as a business owner, for example, would you like to work for a very good company that has no challenge ahead of them, or who are the worst? And just try to fix it. So if I would work for Facebook, it would either be their downfall because they hired me, if I'm not qualified for that, but maybe I can make a change and make less suffering or less Donald Trump or less anything else to the world. So that's what you should do as well. So try to find challenges, try to find what impact can you make on the world? Because I did it for quite a few years. I worked for companies where I didn't have any challenges, and I had a happy life. I always slept very tight at night with a smile on my face, but I didn't have any challenges. You know what I'm talking about. You have to have challenges, and you have to toss and turn during the night. How am I going to solve this? Because that's what helps other people. If you do a good job and you just make the same things that you did so far, then the people won't change and the world won't change. So yeah, work for Facebook.
Amen.
Thank you.